It's Wednesday, August 3rd, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski with a look at the latest local headlines around southwestern Connecticut. Frank Granito will join us with a look at the forecast and a Nutmeg sports update. And later on, Donald Ang will take us back with a look at this day in history. But first, Connecticut State Superior Court Judge Robert Januario on Tuesday denied a petition by Michael Farron that sought to avoid paying his ex-wife the $30 million civil judgment she was awarded. Farron, the former White House attorney in both Bush administrations, was found guilty of attempting to murder his wife at their New Canaan home in 2010 and is currently serving a 15-year prison sentence. 63-year-old Farron tried to avoid paying Mary Margaret Farron until his appeal was possibly heard by the U.S. Supreme Court. According to a report in the Stamford Advocate, Januario was asked by Farron's lawyer, Emily Giaquinto, to stop Mary Margaret Farron from getting any money in what her legal counsel, Paul Slager, said is an attempt to block further attempts to execute judgment. Mary Margaret Farron was badly injured when Farron attacked her on the night of January 6, 2010, but she managed to escape from the house after she had served him with divorce papers. And in other news today, a full set of kitchen appliances valued at $27,000 were stolen from a new home between July 26th and July 27th in Darien. A contractor reported that theft to police. Police said the rear door of the kitchen had been found open with water flooding the floor. An alarm system in the home had been left inactive and unmonitored at the time of that theft. Police determined that the suspects had entered through French doors in the kitchen and the floor locks had been disengaged. Tire tracks led from the driveway through the backyard and up through those doors. A number of recently installed home appliances were taken from the kitchen, including 2 Sub-Zero refrigerators, a Marvel beer keg refrigerator, 2 Marvel wine refrigerators, a pull-out drawer refrigerator, as well as a Bosch dishwasher and microwave, and 2 kitchen faucets. Police said the water did extensive damage to the home's flooring, which will likely need to be replaced. A canvass of the neighborhood did not produce any further details. And the Monroe police arrested 39-year-old Frank Benegos for alleged burglary and larceny from a neighbor. According to the Monroe Police Department, Benegos stole nearly $3,000 worth of goods from his neighbor's garage on 2 different occasions. The police said that Benegos took the items and then pawned them in Bridgeport. After a warrant was issued for his arrest, he turned himself in at the Monroe Police Department on August 1st. He was unable to pay his $10,000 bail and was brought to court for arraignment. And the Stamford Advocate is reporting that a pregnant woman was arrested Monday night after intentionally striking an acquaintance with her car and taking off following an argument over the woman's drinking. 29-year-old Shannon Landa of 2nd Street in Norwalk was charged with second-degree assault, evading responsibility, interfering with an officer, and risk of injury to a minor. Police say officers were dispatched at around 6 p.m. on an initial report of a car accident at the corner of Reed and Cedar Streets. Upon arrival, officers found a female victim who claimed that Landa had been driving her and her child home. When the woman suspected that Landa was intoxicated, police say that she asked to be let out of the car. While walking around the front of the car, the woman told police that Landa punched it and ran her over, then leaving the scene. Police said that the woman sustained non-life-threatening injuries to her ankle, foot, and head. The juvenile, however, was uninjured. Landa was located in a Gregory Boulevard parking lot, and police say that she was uncooperative with them. Police said that an odor of alcohol and marijuana was also emanating from the vehicle. And a Bridgeport woman was arrested in Trumbull after police say she called a local restaurant numerous times to threaten an employee. According to reports, police were called to Mex on Main at about 7 in the evening, July 28th. An employee reported that another woman was calling the restaurant and threatening to beat her up. While police were there, the woman phoned again and also phoned several more times after police left. An officer called the woman, identified as 22-year-old Lisbeth Aldiva, and told her to stop calling. Aldiva allegedly said she was determined to beat up that employee and didn't care if she got arrested. She was subsequently charged with second-degree harassment and threatening. She was released on a promise to appear in court on August 8th. And in other news today, Stratford's Short Beach will be closed today due to high bacteria levels in the water. Officials say it will be closed until Thursday. Silver Sand State Park in Milford, which is run by the state, is also closed today. The water there will be resampled on August 4th. And state police are answering the question of what you should do if 911 doesn't work. Connecticut State Police say it's extremely rare but possible. In fact, back on July 15th, many Connecticut towns were experiencing 911 issues. State police suggest that making sure your local police department and state troops' phone number is programmed into your phone just in case. But switching gears now, we're going to throw it over to Frank Granito for a look at the forecast. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. It's been an absolutely beautiful morning and is showing no signs of changing anytime soon. Mostly sunny today with a high of 79 and low humidity. Clear skies will continue and make their way through the night with a low of 73 as we get ready for temperatures to jump back up just a little bit moving into tomorrow. Thursday looks to be another gorgeous day, though, with plenty of sun and an expected high of 83 degrees, but it'll feel closer to 90 with the humidity rising up. Clear skies again Thursday night and temperatures dipping all the way back down to 65. Moving towards Friday. Friday, once again, it will be sunny for the majority of the day. Temperatures right around 82 with a little humidity to go with it again. And we will see some clouds start to move in later in the evening and early Friday night as we make our way to the weekend, but should be a gorgeous next 3 days, Kate.
All right, Frank. I saw my first fall leaf today had fallen on August 3rd.
That's
a
little
I
scary.
think it's an excitement and preparation for HAN's fall sports season, personally.
That's one good way to look at it.
I think Mother Nature is excited too, just like we are. But we are going to step out for a break, and when we come back, we have a Nutmeg Sports Update with Frank. We also take a look back on this day in history with Donald Ang, and we have some more news coming up after this. Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Chop off your knives to be sharpened. Grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
What's happening up in Hartford and what's trending in the Nutmeg State?
Join Kate Czaplinski
And Josh Fisher
on CT Pulse live Wednesdays at 12:30 to find out.
We talk to the leaders and newsmakers while breaking down the stories you should be paying attention to each week.
With the help of HAN's editorial cartoonist Doug Smith, we take a humorous look at the news of the week. We talk about everything you were told you should avoid bringing up in polite company.
CT Pulse, Wednesdays at 12:30 on the HAN Network.
You're watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. More than 1.5 million viewers have watched our live sports, news, and entertainment broadcasting since the network launched in August 2015. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
We're back on this Wednesday, August 3rd edition of your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, and it's time to throw it over to Donald Eng for a look back on this day in history. Don, what do you have for us?
Well, Kate, sometimes sports and society intersect, and we have an anniversary today of one of the most famous occasions. First, though, we go to 1492. Christopher Columbus set sail from Palos de la Frontera, Spain. Though Columbus was not the first European explorer to reach the Americas, that would have been Leif Erikson, his voyages led to the first lasting European contact with the Americas. Interestingly, despite never setting foot on the North or South American continent, there are more than 30 places named after him, including the District of Columbia, that is the U.S. capital, and cities named Columbus in 8 states, British Columbia, and Columbus Circle, New York. 1852, Harvard University wins the first boat race between Yale University and Harvard. That's what they call it, just the boat race. The race is also the first American intercollegiate athletic event. Now, sometimes it's called the Yale-Harvard Regatta, but official programs usually brand it Harvard-Yale. Harvard has won the race 95 times, Yale 55 times, and the 2016 race was a no contest after Harvard's boat swamped in rough conditions and the race was red flagged with Yale leading. They're actually still complaining about that. 1907, Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis fines Standard Oil a record $29.4 million for giving illegal rebates to freight carriers. Now, the conviction and the fine are later reversed on appeal, but the decision showed that Kennesaw Mountain Landis was not afraid to make controversial decisions when it came to the courts. 14 years later, in 1921, Major League Baseball Commissioner Kennesaw Mountain Landis bans the 8 Chicago Black Sox the day after they were acquitted by a court in Chicago. The 8 had allegedly taken money from gamblers to throw the 1919 World Series, including Shoeless Joe Jackson there. They were acquitted in court, but Landis banned them, the famous 8 men out. Finally, now we go to 1936, Berlin, for this.
After the fanfares of the Olympic opening comes the most amazing performance by America's black streak Jesse Owens in the 100 meters. The world's most superb runner makes the others look as if they're walking, as he wins the final and equals the world's record time. This and his later victory in the long jump may well be the athletic performances of the century.
Jesse Owens accelerating away from the field, almost caught by Ralph Metcalf there, but it was Jesse Owens winning gold in the 100-meter dash at the Berlin Olympics, the beginning of perhaps the greatest performance in Olympic history, made all the greater by the intense social and political pressure at the Games. Now, the story of Adolf Hitler snubbing Owens by refusing to shake his hand is kind of more fiction than fact. Owens actually would later say that Hitler treated him with about the same level of courtesy as President Franklin Roosevelt. So an unfortunate ending to that great story. But that is your look back in history for today, August 3rd, and I'm Donald Eng.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, getting back to a little more news today, Radio Shack in Ridgefield is going out of business. Store manager Jack Cravo confirmed to the Ridgefield Press that the business would be leaving its Danbury Road location at the end of the month. The press had called the store as recently as last week to inquire about the closure, but the manager at the time said that it would be staying in business. However, that will not be the case, as the Ridgefield store will now join a long line of other locations to close nationwide. Radio Shack currently has other locations in Danbury and Wilton for those looking to continue to shop there. They also have other stores in Fairfield County, in New Canaan, Westport, Fairfield, and Stamford. The Ridgefield store, which is located at 125 Danbury Road, has been in business for more than 4 decades, opening in the Cops Hill Plaza in May 1973. But let's throw it back over to Frank Granito now for a Nutmeg Sports Update. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. The Fairfield American Little League team won the Connecticut State Tournament last weekend to advance to the New England Regionals with a World Series berth on the line. Fairfield American captured its second state title in 3 seasons, holding off determined Kaganechog team with a 6-3 win at Detter Field. The New England Regional Tournament starts Sunday, August 7th at Breenfield in Bristol. Connecticut will face New Hampshire at 7 p.m. after Maine plays Vermont earlier that afternoon. And starting tomorrow, Connecticut's TPC River Highlands will play host to the Travelers Championship as Golf's Best return to Cromwell for the annual tournament. Former major winners Keegan Bradley, Webb Simpson, Angel Cabrera, Louis Oosthuizen, and Jim Purick are amongst the field who will look to knock off defending champion Bubba Watson, who defeated Paul Casey in a 2-hole playoff last year. First round play is scheduled to begin Thursday and will make its way through Sunday afternoon as the tournament will come to its conclusion, and the golfers will get set to head down to Rio, where they will join the Olympic golf which is back in the games for the first time since 1904. And speaking of the Olympics, Kate, make sure you tune into Nutmeg Sports Day at 2 o'clock. Dave Stewart will be on the air with us to talk about local Olympians who are making their way down from Fairfield County. And we will also be joined by Clark Jones, the director of the Hockey Skills Academy, who we lost touch with on Monday, but he's excited to come back on and talk about camp starting next week.
Awesome. All right. Thanks so much, Frank. Well, let's get back to a little more news today. From the Wilton Bulletin, sniffing out narcotics, locating missing people in the woods by their scent, and taking down aggressive suspects are three of the main things that the Wilton Police Department's latest canine officer is being trained to do. Basso, a 14-month-old German Shepherd, is becoming acclimated to his life as a police dog and should be coming on regular duty in October, according to Officer Eric Padenod, who will be handling the new dog. The officer, who works the 3 to 11 shift, said that we've been bringing Basso around to meet the public, as well as he made a recent stop at the Chamber of Commerce's sidewalk sale in Wilton Center. But you can get more on that story at wiltonbulletin.com. And the town of Darien has pushed back its summer street paving schedule by 4 days, now set to begin August 8th. The dates listed include milling and paving. The town has asked drivers to avoid those roads if possible during those times, or use extra caution if you must travel on those roads. The schedule is based on favorable weather conditions. Emergency access will be available at all times. Town of Darien police officers will be present to direct traffic and assist area residents during that construction. Driveway access will be limited during those paving operations. However, officials say no single driveway should be closed for more than an hour. On-street parking will also be suspended during those paving operations, but you can get more information at DarienTimes.com. The Ridgefield Board of Selectmen recently agreed to disagree about the value of publicly supporting National Gun Violence Awareness Day. First Selectman Rudy Marconi said at a recent meeting, it's just a recognition of the violence which we've seen too much of recently. He said it has nothing to do with the Second Amendment. But Selectman Bob Hebert wasn't comfortable backing the proclamation, however, saying it drew on anti-gun sentiment that was all over the internet. At the Selectmen's July 20th meeting, he voted against endorsing that proclamation, which the other board members backed. He said, I cannot support signing a proclamation for Gun Violence Awareness Day. All we're doing is calling attention to an inanimate object and not the real cause behind the violence. However, the support for that proclamation passed it by a majority of the selectmen there. More on that story at theridgefieldpress.com. And New Canaan's Waveny Park Conservancy has a shovel in the ground. The first park improvement project for the one-year-old nonprofit organization will create a 450-foot-long walking path alongside the entry road where the road curves up the hill to the left and approaches the mansion. The work officially began on Monday, and board members gathered with town officials to mark the beginning of what is planned to be years of projects improvements to Waveny Park. The roughly $37,000 for that stretch of pathway had been raised by the Conservancy and will be paid to the contractor through the town of New Canaan, which oversees all projects done by private groups on its lands. We spoke recently to Conservancy board member Scott Gress on all the projects in the works. Check it out.
The town of New Canaan has done an amazing job with the park. Everything north of the driveway. So we've put in the high school, and we've put in the dog park and the paddle hut and the fields and the swimming pool. But we've sort of ignored everything south of the house. So the fields have gone to invasive plantings and things. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try to restore that. We have 5 projects that we're going to try to do. The formal gardens, we're going to repair them. The walls are crumbling. We're going to get those back into shape. There's a pond at the bottom of the sledding hill, and we're going to dredge that so it's healthy again. It's filling in with silt, and as it fills in, eventually it'll become wetlands, and we won't be able to touch it. So there's a bit of an urgency to that. We're going to build a trail up from South Avenue up all the way to the house. And then the cornfields, which have been the dumping grounds of the silt from the ponds dredgings, both from Mead and Mill, we're going to level those. We're going to plant beautiful fields. We're going to have meandering paths, benches, things like that. We're going to do a forestry study on the trees that we have to make sure that we keep the really important trees, and then work on thinning the ones that are...
You can see that full interview and get a lot more on that story at ncadvertiser.com. We're going to step out for a break, and when we come back, we're going to be recapping some of the top stories we're following today. We'll also get another look at the forecast with Frank coming up on your coffee break after this. For more than 50 years, Triple S has been Fairfield County's expert service for carpet, upholstery, and drapery cleaning. We provide the best in repairs and in-depth restoration, understanding fabrics and how to properly clean and restore them. Our staff will come to your home to clean your wall-to-wall carpet to perfection. We can also pick up your fine carpets and bring them to our facilities. With locations in Norwalk, Stamford, and Stratford, Triple S will get the job done fast, big or small. At Triple S, you can count on our people as well as our cleaning. Find us at triplesclean.com or 203-847-8000.
I really wanted something that felt like a home. Coming from a big house, I wanted the feel of a home as opposed to a condo. New Canaan is 6 minutes down the road. New Canaan's a beautiful little town to walk around. I work in Westport. My commute is 20 minutes. It's close to Westchester where my family is, so the location is ideal. There is no other townhome that compares in the area. This is where I want to be.
At Cabbage Patch Nursery School in Ridgefield, playtime is learning time. Using out-of-the-box activities and programs in science, dance, Spanish, Taekwondo, and so much more, learning is made fun. Aside from interactive classrooms, our center features a sensory room, computer lab, and a large outdoor space for playtime fun. Our carefully chosen staff believe in a supportive, safe environment and keeping you updated on your little one's experience. Cabbage Patch Ridgefield, helping shape your child's future. 29 Farrar Lane in Ridgefield. Call 203-340-1250 to register today.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune into Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
I'm Frank Granito.
And I'm Donald Ing for the HAN Network.
Tune in to Nutmeg Sports Monday through Wednesday, where we bring you all the top stories for Connecticut sports.
From players and coaches' interviews to expert opinions with local sports editors, no one gets you closer to Connecticut's games than Nutmeg Sports.
Nutmeg Sports Monday through Wednesday at 2 p.m. on the HAN Network.
Today's coffee break is brought to you by the Mead School in Stamford, offering a progressive education for infants, toddlers, preschool, and kindergarten through grade 8. The Mead School inspires and challenges students to achieve deep learning and become independent, creative thinkers. The faculty is dedicated to helping each child develop the skills needed to contribute in our rapidly changing world, beginning with the solid foundation in traditional skills with emphasis on the development of a child's critical eye and inquisitive thinking. The Mead School celebrates academic excellence and personal achievement within an atmosphere of respect rather than competition and comparison. Explore the Mead difference. An open house is scheduled for October 23rd. Find out more at meadschool.org. We're back on this Wednesday edition of your coffee break on the HAN Network, recapping some of the top stories we're following today, including that Connecticut State Superior Court Judge Robert Januario on Tuesday denied a petition by Michael Farron that sought to avoid paying his ex-wife the $30 million civil judgment she was awarded. Farron, the former White House attorney in both Bush administrations, was found guilty of attempting to murder his wife at their New Canaan home in 2010 and is currently serving a 15-year prison sentence. 63-year-old Farron tried to avoid paying Mary Margaret Farron until his appeal was possibly heard by the U.S. Supreme Court. According to a report in the Stamford Advocate, Januario was asked by Farron's lawyer, Emily Giaquinto, to stop Mary Margaret Farron from getting any money in what her legal counsel, Paul Slager, said is an attempt to block further attempts to execute judgment. Mary Margaret Farron was badly injured when Farron attacked her on the night of January 6, 2010, but she managed to escape from the house after she had served him with divorce papers. And in other news today, a full set of kitchen appliances valued at $27,000 were stolen from a new home between July 26th and July 27th in Darien. A contractor reported the thefts to police. Police said that the rear door of the kitchen had been found open with water flooding the floor. An alarm system in the home had been left inactive and unmonitored at the time. Police determined that those suspects had entered through French doors in the kitchen and the floor locks had been disengaged. Tire tracks led from the driveway through the backyard and up to those doors. A number of recently installed home appliances were taken from the kitchen, including 2 Sub-Zero refrigerators, a Marvel beer keg, 2 Marvel wine refrigerators, a pull-out drawer refrigerator, as well as a Bosch dishwasher and microwave, and 2 kitchen faucets. Police said the water did extensive damage to the home's flooring, which will likely need to be replaced. A canvass of the Darien neighborhood did not produce any further details. And the Monroe police arrested Frank Benegos, 39 years old, for alleged burglary and larceny from a neighbor. According to the Monroe Police Department, Benegos stole $3,000 worth of goods from his neighbor's garage on 2 different locations. The police said that Benegos took the items and then pawned them in Bridgeport. After a warrant was issued for his arrest, he turned himself in on August 1st. He was unable to pay his $10,000 bail and was brought to court for arraignment. And the Stamford Advocate reports that a pregnant woman was arrested Monday night after intentionally striking an acquaintance with her car and taking off following an argument over the woman's drinking, according to Norwalk police. 29-year-old Shannon Landa of 2nd Street was charged with assault, evading responsibility, interfering with an officer, and risk of injury to a minor. Police say officers were dispatched just before 6 p.m. on an initial report of a car accident at the corner of Reed and Cedar Streets. Upon arrival, officers found a female victim who claimed that Landa had been driving her and her child home. When the woman suspected that Landa was intoxicated, police said that she was asked to be let out of the car. While walking around the front of the car, the woman told police that Landa punched it and ran her over, then leaving the scene. Police said that the woman sustained non-life-threatening injuries to her ankle, foot, and head. The juvenile was uninjured. Landa was located in a Gregory Boulevard parking lot, and police said she was uncooperative. Police also said they detected an odor of alcohol and marijuana emanating from the vehicle. And finally, Stratford's Short Beach is closed today due to high bacterial levels in the water. Officials say it will be closed until tomorrow. Silver Sand State Park in Milford, which is run by the state, is also closed today. The water there will be resampled tomorrow. Well, Frank, it is a nice day to go to the beach if you can. It's beautiful out.
Unfortunately, we lose those 2 beaches, but it will be a great next 3 days. Lots of sun, a high of 79 today with clear skies and temperatures right in the low 70s as we make our way towards Thursday and Friday, where we will see plenty more sun those next 2 days. Temperatures in the low 80s with humidity rising up a little bit again, and we might see some clouds move in late Friday night as we make our way to the weekend. But if you get the chance, you're absolutely right, Kate. These next 3 days are perfect to head down to one of the beautiful beaches in Connecticut.
All right. Thanks so much, Frank. And again, tell us what's coming up on Nutmeg Sports at 2.
So we'll be joined again by the Hockey Skills Academy director, Clark Jones. He'll come on, talk about all the camps they've got going on over the next few weeks, as well as renovations that are happening at the Darien Ice House right now. And Dave Stewart comes on and joins me, and we're going to talk about some Fairfield County locals who are making their way down to Rio as they get set for their Olympic Games this year.
Awesome. And coming up at 12:30, CT Pulse with myself and Josh Fisher. Commissioner Yvonne Klein of the Connecticut Department of Housing will be joining us, so be sure to check that out. For now, we're going to wrap things up here on your coffee break, but we'll be back tomorrow at 11. Have a great Wednesday.